Hey, Katie.
Hey T,
How you doing, girl?
you know, we're hanging in there.
That's good. That's swell. I'm
How
happy.
are you doing?
You know what? I'm pretty good today.
That's good. Is it because Goodreads is finally working a little bit today?
Um, yeah. Finally.
It's honestly like such a first world problem, but such a pain in the ass when it's down.
No, like, because it was down for a long time.
Yeah,
It wasn't just like, oh, like an hour or two. It was down since last night.
it was a pain in the ass. And I finished a book last night, and like I truly hate when I'm in the mood to do a review and it's
Mm-hmm.
not working, and it's like, oh, okay, well now you're gonna get a half-ass something because I don't feel like waiting and doing it later.
That's why my love theoretically Goodreads review is like not. It's like three sentences where I
That's
actually
how,
really
yeah,
enjoyed it.
yeah, that's literally how done and dusted was for me because I was trying so hard last night to write something, and I was like, "All right, Goodreads, if you don't want to work, then you're not going to get a good review."
Yeah, and also then I already had another book on my Kindle started, so I was like, okay, but at first I was going to start a different physical book, but I was like, I can't start something unless I can mark it as currently reading on Goodreads. Like, I can't do that.
Such
So
problems.
I know. So I was like waiting, and then I was like, you know
Yeah,
what? I started an arc yesterday on my Kindle, so I was like, I'm just gonna finish that. I just started
honestly, it,
two
it was
arcs
the
yesterday.
push that you needed, and honestly, you're because we were texting last night, Mary, Teresa, and I about like what we're currently reading, what we're going to be reading next, and because you said you were reading the arc, I was like, you know what? Then I'm going to too. Like nothing else is getting in this way. So I started it last night as well.
Yeah, I'm reading that. So we're both reading the Beyond the Veil arc, which is like the bridging book between books 8 and 9 for Zodiac Academy. I believe it comes out on Friday the 30th.
Yes.
Um, and then I also started a NetGalley arc of Do Your Worst by Rosie Dannon. She's the author of The Roommate. Um,
Okay.
and I'm really enjoying that as well. But yeah, I think I'm like 30% into Beyond the Veil. I'm kind of taking breaks because it's not really like a plot kind of story. So like I feel like it's just gonna get like repetitive. Um, it's like basically what is going on with all the dead people during the events of Zodiac Academy Book 8. So like we're not I mean, I don't feel like we're really learning a lot right now. Um, I know that Lance's dad is working on helping to find some of the guild stones. I'm like having a hard time understanding how exactly. So they're in like the in between, like it's not heaven, it's not hell. They're kind of in like this like purgatory, and they are able to see their loved ones. But like a few times they say that they can interfere, and then a, but then they do, or like they try to. So I don't really understand how like Lance's dad finding out where the guild stones are is going to help them because like they can't communicate with the living.
Yeah, and I think right in the beginning too, it's Tori and Darcy's father says
Hmm.
that they in particular are not allowed to interfere or help, but they can observe.
Yeah, but like every chapter is like them trying to interfere and help. So
It's
I'm like,
so
why make that like a I
yeah.
mean, again, we haven't finished it yet. No spoilers. That's just something that I've picked up on so far.
I think my hope for this, I don't want to say book eight, but like a taste in my mouth, but a taste in my mouth, you know? Um,
Yeah. Like I gave it 5 stars. I loved it while I was
yes,
reading it. But like the
yes.
longer we've been sitting on it, the more I'm like,
Well, and I think how do I want to phrase this? You know what it is like I enjoyed it. Was I salivating and foaming at the mouth for it? Yes. Like did I read it in like 2 days? Yes. Like Teresa said, it's a 5-star book. But I can understand when everyone else was talking about it, the frustration, of course, at not getting the ending.
mm-hmm.
Um, and again, we won't spill any kind of spoilers here, just in case you want to like do it for yourself or you want to whatever. But like, there are some things that happen and occur that you're kind of almost like scratching your head at, like, how now are we going to wrap this all up in the next book? But I think
Right.
I think the one thing that like honestly gets me, there are a lot of point of views in this in book 8, and I do feel that some kind of were not needed, and in one person in particular it went from like being funny, cutesy to like, okay, you're actually annoying. And I think you and I both skimmed those chapters.
Geraldine.
Geraldine
Yeah.
was fun more so in like the first couple books, and that this whole book I was like, honestly, shut up. I don't need to hear your stupid analogies anymore. Where I actually really
Yeah.
liked her little analogies prior. But I think the
Yes.
one thing to me that annoys me above all else is the length of this book. So like 5 and 6 are thicker. They're not like massive, but they're thicker. Book 7 obviously is what, over 1,000 pages, and now we have book 8 over 1,000 pages, and book 9. I mean, in Twisted
Right.
Sister fashion, it's probably going to be over 1,000. So like, if you just started or like want to start, I can very much understand why the size alone of the last 3 books would deter you from reading them.
Yeah. And I loved book 7. Like
It
it
was
is one of my
amazing.
favorites of the series. Um but there wasn't a lot of plot happening. So I was like really, I mean, book 8 was supposed to be the last one. So I was like really hoping for just like a lot of plot movement and development. And I feel like we just got a lot of like the same
We were beating a dead horse.
like nothing changed. Like
Yeah.
I understand their writing style, and like maybe they felt like they couldn't finish it by the end of book 8, and I would rather them finish it correctly than like rush
Yes,
an ending.
absolutely.
But I do feel like the way that book 8 ended, like they gave the characters they like more to have to overcome in
Yes.
book 9. So now I'm like, can they even finish it by the end of book 9, knowing that like how their writing style
Yeah.
is? Like I don't, again, no spoilers, but like I don't need any more like romance. Like
No.
now I just need plot.
Yeah. Give me all. Like, and I think that's again what's upsetting about, not upsetting, but just a deterrent for book 8 is like you're. It's almost like a repeat of 7.
Yeah, like nothing
Nothing
happened
happens besides
in book
one
7.
thing, but like
Right.
it doesn't even happen
One
until like towards the end.
I think it's at like 80%.
Yeah.
Something happens. But otherwise, like everybody is in the exact same place by the end of basically everybody's in the exact same place that they were. Like some things get resolved, yes, but more things get added to the plate. Like I don't think we
Yes.
needed more things added to the plate.
No.
But so I mean like I did skip, there was a Catalina chapter in Beyond the Veil, and it's very Hamish heavy because obviously they're married. And Geraldine's, I'm not going to say spoilers, but it's very like Hamish heavy. I skimmed most of it. I'm like, I don't need to read about floundering flounders or there's
Suffering
a whole like
succotash.
there's a whole like dessert.
Slippery
I'm saying
salmon.
this. I'm saying this as I'm wearing my Zodiac Academy sweatshirt. There's a whole like chapter, and again, it's maybe like 7 minutes long, like reading wise. So like, it's not a long chapter, but it's Hamish basically like comparing like different like levels of like treachery to like different desserts,
Ugh.
and
You
like
did.
yeah.
That's so annoying. You did say the chapters were shorter though, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, like they've been like 15-minute like chapters. I think that's been like the longest so far. I'm not like, I mean, I don't know. Like I love Darius. Um
We're
you
Lance
get a lot of,
girlies.
yeah, I say we're like, he's like not in it. Like yeah, you're getting a little bit of his dad. Like you meet some other like people who have passed. You meet the Vegas parents, like Hale and Marissa. Gabriel's biological father is there. Um, but like Hale and Marissa, they were parents, obviously. Like they were raising Gabriel. They had twin daughters. They've been dead for now, like, I guess how old are the girls now? 20, 21 years. And like Hale is acting very immature, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. I don't want to like harp on it because I haven't finished it yet and it hasn't come out yet. So we can move on. But
We will
I,
move on.
yeah,
Sorry, I
maybe
brought this all up.
no. I think I brought it up because I was like, oh, we're reading the what's it called, the
Beyond
arc.
the Veil.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I
So
think, for the people out there who are Zodiac is obsessed like we are, I think
yeah,
I'm almost hoping this at the end it restores a bit of hope that I have for book 9. That's what my hope is at the end
yeah.
of
I
the
mean,
tale.
the authors said that you don't need to read this, like to read book 9. So I'm not expecting like anything crazy that we
No.
kind of like don't already know about. I think it's just kind of like
It's
their
kind of
way
like
of
As Told
giving.
as the Boys. Like you
Yeah,
don't need to read it to continue, but it's just a nice addition
I
to
loved As Told by the Boys.
Sing. It was amazing.
Um, so yeah, so I mean, like I'm enjoying it, but I'm not like dying and like rushing to read it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna kind of gonna read it, like maybe like 10%, 20% until I get to the end. Because again, it's not really adding to the story. It's more, it's not, you can't even call it a novella because it's like 400 and something pages, but it's
Yes.
basically just like a long novella in that the context is just kind of like bridging two stories together, but it's not giving you any new plot.
I'm just happy it's like 400 pages.
Yeah. And then so do your work. I think that you're going to like this.
Okay.
Um, So I got the arc off NetGalley. So if I end up liking it, I would maybe suggest that you like put in for it. But it's
On NetGalley?
about, yeah. Again, I'm only like 20% in, so let me finish before, because if like you end up getting it and I'm like at the end like no, never mind. But it's about this girl. She's actually from like South Jersey slash Philly,
Preach.
um, but it takes place in Scotland. She is a curse breaker, so she's like supernatural, whatever. And she goes to a castle in Scotland and is like trying to like figure out what the curse is and how to break the curse on this like old ass castle. And there's an archaeologist there, and he like thinks that like she's trying like that curse breaking isn't like a real thing, and that like he doesn't believe in like the supernatural. So they're like enemies, like
Okay.
working together. Um Obviously they're gonna fall in love. Like
I'm literally
she
signing into
compares him.
NetGalley as we speak.
So like, yeah. So this, I'll read the description of the book. Riley Rhodes finally has a chance to turn her family's knack for the supernatural into a legitimate business when she's hired to break the curse on an infamous Scottish castle. Used to
Ooh.
working alone in her alienating occupation, she's pleasantly surprised to meet a handsome stranger upon arrival, until he tries to get her fired. Fresh off a professional scandal, Clark Edgware can't allow a self-proclaimed curse breaker to threaten his last chance for redemption. After he fails to get Riley kicked off his survey site, he vows to avoid her. Unfortunately for him, she vows to get even. Riley
Ooh.
expects the curse to do her dirty work by driving Clark away, but instead they keep finding themselves in closer proximity. Too close. Turns out the only thing they do better than fight is fool around.
Okay.
And if the spice in the roommate was so good, so I'm assuming that the spice in this is going to be amazing. And again, it's got that supernatural kind of like witchy like vibe, and I
You
like
know
it so
how
far.
I feel about a witchy vibe.
I know. As soon as I like started reading it, I was like, I feel like Katie would like this one.
Okay. Then I am, as we speak, logging into NetGalley.
Okay, perfect. What else have we? True Love Experiment. I don't want to give
Oh my
spoilers
god.
away, but we have to talk about it.
Oh my god. Oh my
I
god.
like. Okay, everybody knows. Not to bring up Zodiac Academy again, but like Lance O'Ryan is like my number one fantasy book boyfriend. Like, I would marry him tomorrow. Okay, Connor Prince the third.
Is everything.
Like, I don't want to say he's my top romance book boyfriend, but I'm having a difficult time putting someone above him.
I can understand that. Also, wait, can we like take 2 steps back? Because I don't think in the history of book recs from Katie to Teresa
Hmm.
have we ever had one that you have like first off I don't give them to you very often because you give me the contemporary romance or rom-com recommendations. But
Yes.
this is the first one from me to you that you actually like loved.
Yes. I mean, I was going to buy
I
it
know
and
you
read it.
were.
It
I know
just
you were.
wasn't like on the top of my list. It wasn't like
Give me
low.
credit where credit's due.
No, I mean, like, trust me, like I said, I was like, Katie, I wouldn't have read it as soon as I did
No,
if
but you
it
definitely
wasn't
would
for
have read
you.
it because you really did like Soulmate Equation.
Yeah. And I love Christina Lauren books. Like, I know that some of their books are not like people hate the Unhoneymooners. I liked it. Love in Other Words is one of my favorite books of all time. So I mean, like, yeah, I was definitely going to read it. I probably wouldn't have read it though for like a few months.
Wait, we're backtracking. What was that book called on NetGalley?
Oh, Do Your Worst by
Do Your
Rosie
Worst.
Dannon.
Thank you. No, I know you. I know what you mean. Like it was definitely on your TBR. Definitely wasn't top of the pile, but I made you push
But
that.
yeah. But you know what's so nice is that you were like, you really should read this ASAP. And then I did. Whereas when I tell you to read something ASAP, you wait.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I have something really funny to tell you. So I filmed a TikTok. I was on like sometimes you just get into like you have a vibe going, like things just
Yeah.
stick out in your mind. And I kid you not, on Sunday, 6/24, whatever date that was, my my caption for this video. Thinking about how I just texted my book bestie for a good rec and how her response will be probably something feral because she's been telling me to read 2 books in particular, and I repeatedly said, I'll do that next.
Mhm. And those books, by the way, are Him and Us by Elle Kennedy. And I keep telling Katie that the audio is amazing. She's like, what audiobook should I do next? I'm like, maybe Him by Elle Kennedy and
She's
Serena
like, maybe you
Bowen.
should stop asking me because I honestly hate you now.
Because it's so, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm in the mood for that. I'm like, you, trust me, you'll listen to 2 chapters and you'll be in the mood for it. It's so good. And it's
That's
Joe
true.
Arden and Teddy
You're
Hamilton.
right. You're
Like,
right. The creme de
it's
la creme
just,
meets
it,
together.
it's so good. Oh my God, I love it so much.
All right, fine,
But
fine, fine.
True Love Experiment.
True
Before
love
I don't want to
experiment.
move on until we
No,
talk
we
about this
can't. That's not my good
because
read.
Fizzy, like I don't relate
Fucking
to
loved
her
her.
in like a like in her. I don't know how to put this. I will say how I do relate to her. I guess like her sense of humor
Is
and
dry.
her like how she like doesn't really like she makes jokes instead of like showing emotions. I was like I'm like borderline of Fizzy as far as because I always try to put myself obviously as the female main character, but I don't always relate to them. Like I related to her a lot, and Connor is just the perfect male main character.
I
Like I
just
don't
like
think a more perfect man has ever been written.
no. And if you love an audiobook,
I did
so
start,
good. He has a
so I'm
British accent.
yeah, I'm listening to King of Pride by Anna Wong, which I've never read before. So that is like my when I'm really paying attention audio. But
Mm,
as soon as I finished the True Love Experiment, I downloaded it on Scribed. So like while I'm like working, I've been listening to that because I can like kind of zone
smart.
out. And the audio is really good. Like both of the narrators are amazing, but you get Connor POVs and the male narrator has this like deep British accent, and it's so
I'm
good.
trying to look up who Jonathan Cole and Cindy Kay. And yeah, like Teresa said, they're both amazing, but Jonathan Cole, chef's kiss.
Like
His voice is magic.
Do Me Daddy.
Do me daddy is right. I just like you're saying, like I could not relate to Fizzy at all. Like I am not witty. I like you're good at cracking the jokes, but like you pull it off well. I think that's only certain people that can do that. I can't. I don't want to say it's like I wish I maybe had the witty comebacks because I don't have a witty comeback. So maybe that's more of like an admiration thing. That's why I liked her so much. But I just found her so just amazing. I just loved her. Like she was funny. She was I don't know. I thoroughly even though I could not relate because sometimes I feel like it's hard for readers to enjoy a character if you really can't relate to even if it's like something like the tiniest little thing. I think it can make it a little bit more difficult. But I really couldn't
Yeah.
relate to her in the slightest. But I think I just really enjoyed her character. Um, and like you're saying, Connor Prince is just, and I loved his daughter.
I love Stevie. I love like sometimes I feel like with interconnected standalones, like the characters come in and out, but they don't really have much to do with the plot. I like that like the DNA duo or whatever it's called,
Yeah,
like Rivers, whatever. I like that like they were Jesse and Juno and River were all kind of like still part of the plot. And I love how Fizzy like calls River like one of her best friends. Like she like I
yeah,
like that they're all like tight.
I
And I
agree.
just and also I love reality TV. So the base of the book is that Connor he normally does like humanitarian type of documentaries, like saving the planet and like things like that. And his boss is like we need to make something that is going to actually like produce a lot of money. So they're basically like, you have to create a reality dating show. And his ex-wife is like a huge fan of this author. Fizzy's an author. She writes like a lot of romances. And basically, long story short, Connor is like, we need this girl. And he
Yeah.
meets her like once and he's like, she's it. Like, this is it. And she is kind of giving him like a hard time, but she like eventually agrees to do the show, but like on her own terms. And he kind of like, he's like I guess he's the producer. He's like the main guy. And leading up to the start of the show, she's like, okay, like we have to like become friends and like go on like adventures together and like find joy, because both of them are kind of like in a rut in their like careers, and they end up falling in love, and it's like so wholesome and beautiful.
It's a read. I just like, to me, it's like that is a must read for people who enjoy like just a lighthearted, fun, just again, just amazing book. It would be a recommendation to anybody who likes a contemporary
I'll
romance.
say, if you're a contemporary romance fan, even if you're not, even if like you mostly read fantasy and like you sometimes dabble, I think that this is a book that you should read.
This is a
Like
dabble.
it is definitely one. I don't want to say it's my favorite romance of the year yet because we're only 6 months in, but it is like
Right
top
now, it's like the top.
two. Like I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of another contemporary that I've read, um, which like I'm having a hard time coming up with one, but
it's up. It's clearly up there. It's.
yeah,
I read it in the beginning of the month, and I still have not stopped thinking about it. Like Teresa always reads and then will listen. Like I will be. I'm just going to be re-listening soon because I just need to hear the story again because it was everything. I like even halfway through the book, I ran out to Barnes and Noble to buy the book so I can like hybrid.
yeah.
Like that's when I knew I was like, this is just maybe it probably wasn't even halfway through. It probably was even less.
And then like and if you've read it on like Kindle or listened to it, I have to suggest that you, even if you don't buy the Barnes and Noble
Just
exclusive
go to
edition,
Barnes
that
and
you just
Noble.
go and read it, because you get like a bonus chapter of all Connor, and it kind of like jumps like into the future a little bit, so you get to see like their wedding and like a few other things that happen, and it's just so, oh god,
It's
I
so
love it.
good. You're making me want to read it again. Like the last part. Like I might
I know.
really
It's
quick
so good. It's
just to
so
feel
good.
happy. Staying on contemporary / rom com.
Yes.
Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. Have you read this yet?
I have not read this yet.
Okay, I won't spoil it, but Teresa actually asked me this, and she said she heard that it was better than It Happened One Summer, and this is just my opinion. No, I don't personally think anything could top It Happened One Summer or Hook, Line, and Sinker of Tessa Bailey's. But I
Hmm.
will say, if you read Secretly Yours, and if you were anything like us, where it was just one of those like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just mediocre, but we were okay with it. Um, like I think her name was Hallie, if I'm not mistaken. Like I could not connect with that one, but unfortunately yours was much better. So if you do like Tessa Bailey and you just want to support her and you want a good palate cleanse, I can't say I've sat here and thought about it, but it was definitely a lot better. I gave it a 4 star or four and a
Okay.
half according to my Goodreads.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to read it. It's just like, again, not a priority.
Love Theoretically, we made you a priority though because
Well,
that
yeah, I mean, we are doing it for the podcast
I
next
know
week.
we'll
So I
talk about
actually
that
finished that
podcast.
last night. Yeah, so I don't want to say too much of it, but what I will say is go to the end of the book. The whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, I'm picking up on like little Taylor Swift vibes and whatever. And then at the end of the book, Allie has like a list, and it's like the chapters and the corresponding Taylor Swift song. And I
Thank
was
you,
like, I knew
Allie.
it. I knew
I
it.
knew it. Only a true fan would pick that up.
Well, one, I was
Um,
like, this girl's Mirrorball. And then like there was one part where I was like, this is anti-hero. Like for with Millicent, the grandma, which is like, everybody's out for my money, like they all want me dead. And I was like, oh my god, that's literally the line in Anti-Hero. Like my daughter-in-law kills me for the money. She thinks that I left them, and like I like literally wrote a note in the book. I was like, anti-hero question mark, and then I saw at the end, I was like, oh my god, I was right.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Nothing like getting shit right in a book.
I
Um,
know.
have we talked about Crimson River?
I do not believe we have. No,
No, we have not.
I'm sticking with my British accent from last week.
Carrying over. What were your thoughts on Crimson River?
Okay. So obviously I gave it 5 stars. I really liked it. I thought Vance was like a little dry.
Yeah.
I think that I liked that there was like more of like a mystery plot, like who tried, and this is not a spoiler. This happens in like the first chapter. Who tried to kill Layla?
Yeah.
And it was like whatever. I've just noticed that recently I'm in a more like golden retriever kind of man mood.
Okay.
So Vance was like a little bit too like broody for me.
Okay.
Um, but I still give it 5 stars. Like I just like love the Edens,
Yes.
and I loved like Vance's POV, like meeting them all and like how, like his opinions on them. I thought it
Yeah.
was funny like when he went to like the dinner.
Because he's a true outsider.
Yeah, like yeah, he
Like
is
he's never met the Edens.
no. I mean, I guess when like I mean in the
Winslow,
first
I
book,
guess, really.
Winslow and Memphis were
That's true.
outsiders. Foster technically coming in wasn't. I could say all were besides Jasper.
Oh, that's
But like
true.
because Jasper
I'm
like
skewed
knew
right now.
them because of
Well,
Foster.
I also think like each other character had way more interactions with the Edens, whereas like this guy was more of like an observer in this book.
Except for with Winslow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with you. So I don't mind a golden retriever. I do like a broody male main character. I do agree with T. I feel like he was a little like I feel like he just like fell flat. Like I wish we got more of like his thoughts, like even in the interactions with the Edens, like maybe not having him be so quiet and just cordial. Like
Yeah.
I wanted a little bit more, but still anything that Devney Perry writes, we read, and especially with the Edens, it's an no matter what, it's a 5 star. She writes as if you're alongside these characters, like living them out in the
Yes.
scenes.
Like I love them all. I want to be part of this family.
Yes.
I think that Eloise and Jasper are my favorite. Um, like I liked Layla too. Like she just wasn't my favorite of the female main characters either. But I really liked the book.
I liked the book too. I feel like I like mystery no matter what. It's like Winslow and Griffin, that has a
Yeah.
bit of a mystery to it as well. I liked Winslow as well. She's like she's a sheriff, so like
I love Winslow.
she's amazing. So
Yeah.
I definitely do. I feel like I need to reread Indigo Ridge because I feel like we've had everything else. I think they might be my top favorite. I do
Yeah.
like Eloise and Jasper. I kind of, to me, Eloise I found almost like a little annoying,
Okay.
like true baby sister that could just be maybe
Yeah.
because I'm big sister vibes. I don't know. And I do obviously Foster and Talia. I liked as well.
Yes. I was gonna say I feel like they are the least favorite because of like the um plot point with Foster.
Yeah. Which like,
Like
don't get me wrong, in
again,
real life, I don't even know if I would accept him.
no, like that's the thing. Like I hate that is like what happened because I really liked Foster and
Yeah.
I really liked their relationship. And I know that like Knox and Memphis are like everybody's favorite, but I forget about like I never think
Same.
of them.
Me either, and I don't
Like
know
I think that
why.
they honestly might be my least favorite. Like
Just because I never think of them. Like when you ask me like who's your favorite, like Knox or Memphis
I
don't cross my
just
mind. And I don't know why.
Memphis was just like so like vanilla. I feel like she was just like so no personality. And I liked Knox a lot, but I feel like he suffered from like her being so boring to me.
I hear you. I'm with you on that. I
Yeah,
have to
okay.
agree.
Look at us.
Look at
I
us
know
agreeing.
that's an unpopular Eden's opinion. So
Very unpopular Ian's opinion. It's still 5 star book, in my opinion.
oh
But
yeah, no, I still love the book. I would still recommend it. I'm just saying if
yes.
we're ranking the Edens, I think that I go Jasper, Vale, Indigo Ridge, Garnet Flats, Crimson River, Juniper Hill. But I think like it's interchangeable. I think I would also have to reread or like listen to Juniper Hill again to compare it
I
as like
agree. And
where
like
it fell.
I don't know if we should ever do like we could do a reread and talk about it because I know like the Edens are very popular. I mean, I'm always down for rereading those, and they're short and quick.
Hmm.
But I'm kind of with you. Like to me, Indigo Ridge and I don't know, Indigo Ridge to me is really good. And I'm not like a like she has a one night stand literally like with Griffin, but like I really
Griffin's
enjoyed it.
hot.
Griffin's fucking hot.
And like Griffin is the most like so they're small town romances, but like Griffin, I don't want to say he's a cowboy because he's not like at a rodeo, but he's owns a ranch,
He
so
owns a
like he's
ranch.
a cowboy.
Yes.
Um, I mean, yeah, they're in Montana, so yeah, I consider that like a cowboy small town. But then like Knox is a chef, and
Hmm.
like Eloise, I mean, Talia's a like a
A doctor.
doctor. Eloise owns the hotel. Layla owns the coffee shop. I'm really excited for Mateo's book.
And again, no spoilers, but when you read
End of
the end, I was
yeah,
not. I knew obviously Mateo. I had
yeah.
other thoughts about who was going to be the female main character because of
I
like
don't
different things I
think
was
yeah.
picking up.
I don't think this is a spoiler because it's at the end of Crimson River, and I think that like now that they announced Mateo's book, like it's in the description.
Is it? Should we check?
Okay, check. Because I was gonna say, like, they kind of are made, like, kind of throughout Crimson River, they're setting it up that you think that this one character is gonna be
Yeah.
the love interest in Mateo's story, and then you get to the end, and then something else happens to
Okay,
Mateo.
it is.
Okay, so okay, I forget it's the
Vera.
no, but who is what's her name that works with Layla?
Crystal?
Maybe again names. Okay, so Layla has somebody who works at the cafe with her. They're kind of like she's constantly in the story. We know that she has a crush on Mateo. That's kind of how like what the setup, in my
Yeah.
opinion, was. Then at the end, Mateo gets a phone call that he has a child,
Mm-hmm.
so he has to go back to
Maybe.
Alaska. And then the end of Crimson River is, and I'm not going to say who Vera is, but Mateo and her. So I'm just like, there's.
Like my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what?
I was like, which way are we going here?
Yeah, I was not
Um,
expecting that.
yeah, so
I'm very excited
single
for it.
dad though, single dad.
It might be a single dad, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, I assume it's yeah.
Yeah, like I'm very curious how it's gonna. He's also like the most mysterious, so I feel like it just is. It's like a lot of build up for it. But yeah, I think Indigo Ridge might be we'll call it my favorite for right now, followed by it's like almost a tie between Crimson River and Garnet Flats, and I actually it stinks because like Garnet Flats to me, like the plot of it, like and what Foster like went through, like that really did in real life. Again, no, I don't think I could go. I'm just not that kind of
Which is like
girly.
really far reach.
Far
Like I just
reach.
feel like it just kind of out of left field.
Yes. Whereas like in Crimson River, I felt like the male main character was just like he was brooding everything I wanted in him, but like I wish there was a little bit more dialogue from him. So I feel like those two are tied for me for second place, followed by I guess we need to reread these because now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't remember Knox and Memphis' story.
I remember it, but like I cannot tell you a single.
Same.
So like Memphis was running away with her
Yes.
son from her. She's like comes from like a very rich family,
Yeah.
and her ex is also very rich and I believe abusive. And like I think that she like has like a horrible relationship with her parents as well. So
Was
she
he
kind of like
abusive or
runs.
was it like a secret affair? Because he was like a
Oh,
mobster or something?
that's what it was. Yes, but her parents I think were like emotionally like abusive towards
Yeah,
her in like
yes. Her
some way,
parents sucked
right?
ass. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I knew that there was like something that I was just like or like
Yeah.
emotionally like manipulative and things. So anyway, so she like
Yes.
runs away. Um and she moves into like Knox's like garage apartment,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like hates her because he like likes his like own space, but then he like falls in love with. I don't know. I don't remember anything about her as a character that I was like, yes, I like her. Like I don't think she was funny. I don't think that she was. I just feel like she was very vanilla. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe we do need to.
I think we need
I
to
read.
reread.
Okay. So the thing is, too, I read Juniper Hill and Garnet Flats on the same day. It was when I was on
That can
disability,
be very like
and so I
determined.
read Juniper Hill in the morning, took a nap, and then I read Garnet Flats at night because again they're so quick. And I don't know if it's because I read Garnet Flats immediately after that I just like liked it because I feel like then I was comparing them so close. So I don't know. Oh my
I
god,
mean, I gave this a 5 star, wrote a review, and I did put at some point, so maybe this should get bumped up. Any man that has an 8 pack and feeds me mac and cheese or carbonara is a 10 out of 10 for me.
I mean, yeah.
So maybe a bump up.
No, that's the thing. Like, I like Knox's character. I just don't think that I liked
All right,
Mem.
maybe not this month or next month. I don't even want to say like August. I do think we need to find time. And I do remember listening to a lot of them on audio. There's one of them I did not like on audio. Um, Garnet Flats I liked on audio. Maybe it was Jasper Vale. I did not like the audio. I ended up downloading the book. So maybe
Yeah.
we do a reread at some point.
I mean, it's narrated by Maxine Mitchell and Jason Clark, and I know that I like them. And the audiobook, it says it's 8 hours, but these books are so short that I assume it would probably be more like 4 if you're listening at like a 1.8.
Jasper Vale is narrated by different people. It's Lance Greenfield and Lucy Rivers. For me, it just I could not. I had to stop. Like I couldn't even focus or pay attention.
Yeah.
Which also could be why I was deterred and then like restart the book. Like so, who knows? But I do think we should do a reread at some point.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I wish that the audio was on Scribd because a lot of Devney's other books are on Scribd.
Yeah,
But the Edens aren't, at least not last time I
I
checked. Let
wish
me
you can
just,
like lend each other audiobooks because I would give you mine.
yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I'm like, what? Now I'm going to have to like spend
Bye.
$60 on audiobooks.
All right. Well, to be determined on the reread then.
Yeah.
Um,
But we'll see.
we'll see. Another good quick read, and this is again coming from someone who Teresa's a much faster reader than I am, but I do have a child, so I feel like if I can put that in perspective of how fast I was able to read this book, Done and Dusted. I think it's only like 290 pages. It's free on KU, obviously because it's KU. I think I gave it a 4 stars, but like, dare I say, it's probably like a 4.5. Maybe I was just like trying to. It's a 4.5. We're going to change that right now. But it's so fun and so quick. And for something I think that short, I think it
Hmm.
takes some skill to kind of not rush a plot line, put enough into it where you feel like you're within the story yourself, throw in some good spice here and there, and like wrap it all up nicely. And I think Lila Sage did a really nice job at that as like her debut.
Okay.
Like that's really hard to me. That's hard to do. I feel like if you're like anywhere over 300, you could probably get through, but she did it in 290, and to me that's very fucking
Yeah.
impressive. So I would highly recommend it. It's Brother's Best Friend. Um,
Ooh.
the one thing I will say is like the brother got like a little annoying, but like it's a blip of like an annoyance. Like it's not enough
Yeah.
to ever sway a like decision either way. I just don't think I'd want to give it like 5 stars because I'm like over like to me like again the True Love Experiment 5 fucking stars, five
Yeah.
billion stars. This isn't, but it's like it was very good.
Yeah.
I have 28 highlights. Who am I? So
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah, so like she did I think a really nice job of like making it very relatable. I feel like that's what something that Allie Hazelwood's very good at doing too is like she kind of like brings up millennial things. So I'm like, oh my god, this is so relatable. Even though like these are
Yeah.
STEM people, I'm like I have nothing fucking in common with these people. But she
No.
makes everything like very like relative. So that's what I feel like Lila did. So it's another quick read that I highly recommend. Are you
I just
smiling
want
at
to say
Gilbert?
something. No, I'm smiling. I had a thought.
Oh,
My husband thinks I would never smile at him.
I should have said Winston.
Yeah, okay, that, yeah, yes. No, again, we'll talk about love theoretically, obviously, in depth, and I'll bring this up definitely next week. But I wanted to say that I was going to text you earlier because I feel like Allie Hazelwood listens to the podcast and she took notes because nothing that Elsie wore made me want to kill myself.
No, I will agree.
Yeah. I was like,
Maybe she
wow,
heard
she's
you.
wearing like a sweater dress and leggings and a sweatshirt. I was like, how crazy that she's not wearing some like cringy ass fucking graphic tee with some corny ass fucking saying on it.
Say it louder in the back for the people in the back, T.
Scream it. Okay, so I read an arc, Time to Shine by Rachel Reed. I do not believe I talked about this in last Spilling the Tea because the dates on my Goodreads say that I read it after. Anyway, Rachel Reed is the author of Heated Rivalry and The Long Game, the hockey romance that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, Heated Rivalry and The Long Game are, I think that I would say it's like a more mature read. Like, there is, like, a lot of good and, like, funny banter. But
Okay.
Time to Shine felt more like a romantic comedy of an hockey romance.
Okay.
But I did like it. I gave it, like, 4 stars.
Well, that's
Um,
good.
yeah, and then I did the audio of So Not Meant to Be, which is the Kane Brothers book 2 by Megan Quinn. I had an issue with a Not So Me Cute. And I brought this up, I feel like, a few times because I didn't like the fake pregnancy plot of a Not So Me Cute. So the two main characters in that book decide to fake a pregnancy as a way to help Huxley Kane get like business from this guy whose wife is pregnant. And it's just like a very gross like plot and story.
Yeah.
Um, it's like addressed in the book about how terrible it is. Like it's very like self-aware, but it really bothered me. Like I felt like they shouldn't. I feel like at the end, like once everything came out, like he shouldn't have gotten this business. Like the guy was like way too like understanding and like forgiving. Um
Yeah.
anyway, a Not So Meant to Be, which is book 2, I liked it a lot more. I liked JP so much better than Huxley. And I did like oh my god, what's her name? Kelsey.
Okay.
I did like Kelsey a lot. Um But like a little thing that like annoyed me with it, and I think this is just like nitpicking because like I really did enjoy it, and I think the audio is great. It's a duet, and like I'm a sucker for a duet. But um, there's just like a lot of like they very like JP is like very clearly likes her, and she is like the kind of person that like cannot fathom that any like that he would like her. So she's like every time he does something nice for her, she's like doesn't like believe it and like doesn't take it for what it is, and she's kind of like mean to him, like thinks that he's like
Okay.
trying to like fuck with her. That was a little bit annoying.
Okay.
And then I read Make It Sweet by Kristen Callahan, which was marketed as a hockey romance. And like this is my biggest pet peeve, and you know this. Just because a book has hockey in it does not mean that it's a
It's
hockey
hockey
romance. Like the main character in Make It Sweet, he's a hockey player, but in the first chapter he has concussion syndrome, so he's retired throughout the entire book. So I'm like, let's not call this a hockey romance.
Yeah.
He like very briefly at the end considers going back to his team,
Okay.
but he doesn't. No, the like 98% of the book is about him cooking and baking. Like
It's not a hockey
it's
romance then.
it's a baking romance, right? And it was like very insta love to me. It was like cute. I kind of wish that I just like did it like for free on scribed audio. Um, but I got it as like a gift basically, and
Okay.
it was cute enough. But like, I'm not gonna read this. Like, I'm never gonna think about it again. It's like a 3.25
I hear
ish.
you.
Um, but I think that's all that I've read since the last time. I've had a good month.
Same. I think the only other book that I read was The Unbound Witch, which is book 2 to The Unmarked Witch. I did do the audio of this. I enjoyed the audio. I will say, I think her name is Kirsty. Terrible with names. She's like the main. She's Raven, who's the female main character's best friend, and she's like a ghost. Um, she had. I thought like she was gonna have like a couple sprinkled in point of views, but she had like alternating point of views with the female and male main character, and to me that almost like it took away. I think it was just a little bit
Yeah.
too extra. Um, but if you liked the Unmarked Witch, I still would read it. I thought it was good. Um, it does dabble with some sapphic. You got a couple of scenes, so Spice was very good. But yeah, that was my only other thing with that. Not enough to like sit here and rave about, in my opinion.
No. Okay, well that's good. So is Unmarked, are they like interconnected standalones?
No,
Or is it a sequel?
it's a sequel.
Oh, okay.
So definitely read book 1 before you read book 2. Book
I
2
mean,
like
yeah.
sums it all up. But I started listening to Part of Your World today.
That's a good one.
I'm enjoying it so far. Not very far into it, but it's good. I like that it's short too. Like again, I have my speed up to 1.7, and there's like 5.5 hours remaining,
Yeah.
so that's lovely. Um, I was supposed to buddy read Mistborn. Um, I feel like I love fantasy. Okay, Mary, Teresa, and I were saying this, and I would think that other people agree. I'm sure Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is good. It's rated very high. There's a shit ton of reviews. I'm sure I'll like it. I think I was like maybe 58 pages in. I was also alone with a baby all week
Yeah,
since
I
Wednesday, so
know.
like I was exhausted. So like you can't really read a fantasy book, in my opinion, exhausted. But and maybe T, you could say better than I, but like I feel like it doesn't bother me when, or it does not bother us when a contemporary or a rom com is mediocre.
No.
But we are bothered when a fantasy is mediocre.
Yes.
And I'm not saying this book is mediocre. It's just it's a fantasy, so it's hard to read. But like I guess my thoughts got derailed right there. But that's how we feel about that. I'd be curious if
Yeah.
like other people feel that way too.
Well, I think I was complaining last time too that I was having a hard time getting through For the Throne, and it wasn't because I didn't like it. I just like wasn't in a fantasy reading mindset.
Yeah.
Like I've just been like really tired, and like I just kind of need something that's more mindless lately.
Yes, I can agree with that.
So it took me a while to read it. I was enjoying it while I was reading it, but I would only read like a few chapters at a time. And then like the last 150 pages, like I binged. And I liked the book. I gave it 4 stars. Like it's only a duology. I like the story. It's like kind of like a dark gothic kind of fantasy. Um I just wasn't in that kind of fantasy mood.
Yeah.
And when it's like a heavier fantasy, which I believe Miss Born is also kind of like,
It's
you
heavier.
know, it's heavier and you have to like really, really commit brain power to it. And you don't have the brain power to commit to it.
It's
You're
hard.
like almost doing the book a disservice by trying to push through because then I feel like you end up rating it lower, but it's not because the book's bad. It's more like your mindset wasn't right.
Correct. So that's why like I put it on the shelf right now. I will go back to it. I am intrigued. But like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the ZA book first. There's a couple of things I think I might try to tackle prior to going back to that. Like even like Daughter of No World, I still haven't read book 3. Teresa raves about the series. Like she's obsessed with it. I
Yeah.
want to read book 3 so bad. I loved book 1 and 2. But like I just know because I haven't been in the mindset and I'm tired that like I would never ever do Carissa Broadbent dirty like that.
No. That's why. So I wanted to read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, which is like a standalone that she wrote this month. But like again, I've been having not the best fantasy month, so I'm like I'm not gonna force it. I'm just gonna keep it on my like move it to my July TBR pile,
Smart.
which I actually have down here right now, and hopefully I'll get to it in July. I think I want to start off. Okay, wait. I'm just gonna hold it up, even though only if you're watching on YouTube will you be able to see this, but you'll be able to see it, Katie. It's called Radiance by Grace Draven.
Okay.
So the cover is like terrible, but I like wanted
Yes.
to own it. I can't explain it.
I can understand that. Actually, looking at the cover of the NetGalley book, whatever it's
The Do
called, Do
Your
Your
Worst.
Worst, like
Yeah.
the people aren't like the best, but like I low key
Yeah.
want it because of like the chandelier and like the cool mirrors.
Like I
Like if
almost
it
like
was
wanted
good.
like go on Goodreads if you're listening and look
I'm
up
literally on Goodreads right
Radiance by
now.
Grace Draven because it's okay. So it's part of her Master of Crows. I think it's a duology. I
Okay.
don't know. So it's a friends to lovers fantasy book. And there are two different like species.
Okay.
And apparently they think each other are like the most hideous creatures, but they end up like becoming like really good friends and falling in love. So like I like read that and I was like, I feel like I'm gonna really, really like this. It's actually like pretty I think it's pretty highly rated
Okay.
on Goodreads. Um and I like thought the cover was so ugly that I wanted it.
I can. It's like dogs. Like sometimes dogs are so ugly that they're cute.
Yeah, like again, and I love the Daughter of Lost Hearts like trilogy, the Daughter of No Worlds. I don't love those covers, but then like I love the book so much that like now I
You need
love
to own
them.
them.
So like, I mean, if I hate this, I'm just gonna obviously sell it. But there was just something like so ugly about it that I wanted it.
I hear you.
But yeah, it's
I'm
rated
having a.
4 stars.
That's not bad.
No, for like a fantasy romance, like friends.
Yes.
I've never read a fantasy romance friends to lovers. The
Same.
friend is always
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 the bad guy.
the bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I was like, I
agree.
have to have it. And it's literally like 250 pages. Like,
That's nothing.
yeah. So I think I'm going to try to read this when I'm done. I have to read Cruel Summer
I
too.
was literally just about to say I'm having a hard time with like physical copies because again, like at night if I'm relaxing, it's easy to read on a Kindle. If Leah needs to eat, like she's in my arms with a bottle, like so it's hard to do a book where I could like prop like my Kindle or even like my iPad. Like I have like one of those covers that like you can bend to the back and like
Yeah.
stand up. So like it's easier to read on that. So like I'm having a really hard time getting through Cruel Summer just because of that reason.
Yeah. I mean, it is on Kindle Unlimited, I
I
think,
was
too,
literally
if
about to
you
say I
wanted
might
to
just
do
download
that.
on Kindle and just like call it a day.
Yeah, because I was gonna do that too. Because I bring my Kindle to work, so if I have some downtime, I normally will like read for like a little bit, or if I just like need a break, I'll like go and like whatever. But I feel weird like carrying a book, like or
But
like my
yeah.
Kindle. I can like kind of, not that I need to hide it, but
No,
like
but like I hear what you're saying.
yeah, like when we're allowed breaks, like it's literally fine. There's like literally a library where like people like go and like take breaks in,
It's
but yeah, I
definitely on
feel
Kindle Limited.
weird.
I just checked.
Yeah. So like I was gonna download it too because I was like I can even read like a little bit here and there at work,
Yeah.
um, and then switch to the physical copy too when I'm home. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I do need. I forgot because I have these two arcs that I need to finish this week. So I'm gonna try to read that actually next. Maybe I'll read it over the weekend and then I'll start Radiance and I'll let you guys know how it is.
Please do. We want to know.
Yeah. But next week we're gonna be in depth talking about love theoretically. I'm very
Can't
excited.
wait.
I didn't realize that he was Adam's friend
Yes.
from yeah. Um so that was exciting. I was like, "Ooh, okay."
Little
Um
connection.
yeah, when he was like, "Oh yeah, my friend Adam said like my air mattress like sucks or whatever." I was like,
Adam.
"Oh,
Like
Adam."
you don't
And
need
I
to read
remember
book one to read this, but like it was a cute little egg.
no. Yeah, and then you get what's her face? Elsie's roommate. She mentions like, oh, like Elsie at the end is like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna, we made plans for me to hang out when her friend like Bess comes in to town, which like that's Love on the Brain or whatever
Yeah.
her name was. So I was like, okay, like cute like little Easter eggs because I believe that she's like moving on from like the Love series. Um, I feel like that. Wait, actually, you know what? I'm gonna look it up while we're still on because like Kirk is brought up so many times, like this like weird relationship that her roommate has with this man Kirk, who
Yes.
is like a scientist as well.
Yes.
So I feel like is that maybe what her next book is about? I
Maybe. I
know it's
haven't even
not like
looked.
related to like it's not called like love, like the love
Yeah.
hypothesis, love on the brain, love theoretically, but she does have a new book that's coming out, I think later this year. What's it called? I like have it on my checkmate. Is it about them? No.
Dang.
Damn it. It's a YA debut for her. Darn it. I don't know. I'm very intrigued. Like, are we gonna get another like book? Is it gonna in the series with this man Kirk?
I don't know. I hope so.
I'm like very intrigued by him.
Like they kept like bringing it up, so that was my thought as well.
Yeah, and I really, really liked. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name, but Elsie's roommate.
Yeah, she was funny. She was like brought up a bit more than like the other side characters in the
Yeah, she
past.
was. Yeah, she was very, very, very funny, and I loved like her and her like little hedgehog,
Oh my god,
and
yeah.
it was very cute. I mean, we'll talk again. I don't want to get into it. I'll start talking about it. So anyway,
Same.
love theoretically next week. Spilling the tea. Lady of Darkness. Spilling the tea. I think that I already know what I want us to read for August, but stay tuned. I mean, we did say Red, White, and Royal Blue because the release of
Yes.
the movie. So I'm making Katie either read it or do the audio. The audio I can say is very good. I am going to read it like a physical copy leading up to the movie since I did the audio the first time around. Um, but I feel like that will be like a hybrid episode where we can talk about the book, talk about the movie, compare the two. And we could talk offline about it, but I think I have a fantasy book option for August as well.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, offline. Just in case we
Offline.
don't
That's what I meant.
yeah, just in case we don't agree to it. But
Agreed. And I
That's what we
will
have.
release the
Yeah.
calendar for July in like the next day or two.
And I think that we should be fine to release next Wednesday, but with the holiday, if anything comes up and we need to update the calendar, again, just, check Instagram if you don't see the episode up on Wednesday. But I think that we should be fine.
I think we'll should be fine.
I say, because we can record at any time because we both read it now.
Exactly. So we're good. I already
Yeah.
have the July one prepped and ready. So wait, what did we say? Lady of Darkness, we're moving to, okay. And then what's the other one?
Love Theoretically is next week.
Oh, duh.
That's July
Sorry.
5th. Then Spilling the Tea, then Lady of Darkness, and Spilling the Tea.
Lovely.
Lovely, mate. All right.
Lovely, mate. Well, on that note,
That's the BFF Book Club signing off.
signing off. Bye.